Like you're a CEO, you're a founder, you're going to have a strong bias for action, almost undoubtedly, right? You're going to run towards the fire, all the cliches,
Almost to a fault. Like,
almost to a fault,
you have
right?
to
Yeah.
back off once you start hiring because then you're over involved. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you know exactly what I mean, because I think all three of us sitting here probably suffer from this. Now, you said you
Yeah.
sit and you talk with them and you listen without jumping to solutions. How?
Oh,
How the hell? I mean, so that had to have been a skill that was practiced consciously. That's a choice you consciously made.
yeah.
Because I can empathize, but it is so tempting to sit and jump directly to solutions when you're having conversations like that. And people, it's so risky to make people feel like they're not being heard.
I think a lot for me personally, right? This is just my personal experience. My personality type on the Myers-Briggs is ENFJ. ENFJs are the kind of person, like in a circle of people having a conversation, if one person doesn't feel included or feels uncomfortable, an ENFJ will pick up on that right away. Like and then I get uncomfortable because this one person out of 10 is not comfortable. So if in a situation with an employee, I'm too much or over involved, micromanaging, if they feel diminished or managed, not trusted, I just tend to pick up on it really quick. So that the pain of doing that is like greater than the pain of like not doing enough in terms of like my personal bias for action. So I think for me, it's just personality. I didn't learn it in a book. I didn't learn it from someone else. It's not like a process or a procedure. I can just tell when a person doesn't feel empowered, trusted, and those sorts of things. It's like acutely painful to me. So like yesterday, I did a little monologue for my team, my customer support team, and I kind of picked up on the body language, like eyes glazed over, looking a little bit talked down to, like I picked it up right away. And I was like, okay, I'm going to remove myself from the situation. And then just sort of like brought closure to what my point was. Like, okay, here's my point. And I can see that like I've, beaten this horse and I'm at a peace and keep working on something else. So for me, it's personality. Quite frankly, I don't have any other articulated answer.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
This is something that, so Zach and I have a dichotomy as far as that goes. Zach is impose his will upon the world and just keep moving forward until it's over with, which I'm much more of a, hey, if we keep going forward and keep doing what we're supposed to do, we're going to get where we're supposed to be, sort of thing. Right. But it's that, I think this comes back to what you said, like knowing yourself well enough to put yourself in a good position to do what you need to do, and like surrounding yourself with others that have the pieces that you don't have might be the best way to create an environment that's sustainable. Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I don't know if it's your co-founder, Hewitt, or someone else that's on your board that probably has more of that, hey, here's the next mark, here's the next mark, here's the next mark. We got to keep pushing. Here are the solutions. And not that you don't have that innately, but you have the ability to kind of pull the plug and be like, all right, this is not the time for this. This moment is not the moment for that.
Yeah. Look, when you have full ownership of the thing, the pressure, the motivation, I mean, like it's not really equal to what your employees are experiencing. And you can't really share that burden with them. So there are times where I do feel like a little bit manic or like a little bit like psycho.
Yeah.
I think you have to be like really careful how you channel that with your employees, because it can be overwhelming. It can be, a lot. So that's part of the responsibility of like, you give yourself credit for caring a lot. Sure. Give yourself credit, Zach, for being like, manic and energetic towards the goal. Like that's good. But like it's a two-edged sword. And part of the responsibility is sort of managing their energy and making sure that it's channeled correctly to the people around you. Cause like it is a team effort at the end of the day. Otherwise, be a sole proprietor, be a solopreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're gonna expect your employees to feel the same burden, then you need to share the burden for real and start talking about ownership and employee ownership and all that stuff.
Right?
Make them a partner in the business.
That's what
right?
you want. Yeah.
That's what you want, but you can't have it both ways. I think there's a lot of small business owners who want to have it both ways.
I see it a lot. I see it in brick and mortar, right? They might churn through employees. Like the employees might learn some things about working for someone like that, but not for long. I mean, it's too much. It's imbalanced. The expectations are, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings me to something that is sort of a small question, but I'm curious about, because you see like a lot of debate around this, especially like now, the last year or so, fully remote, in person. You built this company and you have a lot of employees that are remote workers. You're spread around.
Mm.
I don't actually even know where you're based, and if you and your partner are based somewhere together, or if you guys are even separate.
Uh-huh.
Have you made like what give me your just general thoughts and perspectives on like building a startup in like a remote culture, building a
Uh-huh.
startup in person? Like, have you considered bringing everybody to an HQ? I know
Mm.
you guys are on the road a lot to conferences, so perhaps it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. What's your general thoughts around stuff like that?
Because I saw that JP Morgan is the biggest bank in the world. They're like really committed to working in office, and they built the sixth tallest building in Manhattan. They're gonna put 10,000 of their 24,000 Manhattan employees in this one building. Which, for one, I'm like 24,000 employees in Manhattan. Like that is just a huge company. And then two, we're building a building and putting 10,000 employees on it. It's crazy to think about,
It's
right?
crazy.
So look, I'm in Arlington, Virginia. My partner James is on the Eastern Shore of Maryland in a beach town. We're remote, and we didn't consciously choose to do that. COVID sort of did it to us, and then we just never went back. Now, look, when we hired Clayton, our creative director, he was in Oregon because his wife is from Oregon, and he had to leave his job, I think, as like on the media team at Baylor or Cal Berkeley, right? And he was freelancing. Now he works for TeamBuildr as a W-2. Remote work is really good for Clayton. He gets to raise his kids with with their grandparents in his wife's hometown, and he gets to do what he loves for a company that he loves. Remote work is really, really valuable to employees. It is not everything. In person is really awesome too. We do get together like for offsites. We go to conferences. That in-person interaction is really important. And I had a CEO kind of tell me like, what, 6 months ago, he was like, can I give you some unsolicited opinion? He's like, get an office together. He's like, get people. And he's like, as people churn out of your company, hire back into the office. I was like, I didn't tell him this. I was like, I don't really churn people like you do, man. So
Don't
um,
hold your breath.
yeah, no, look, I love both. But for my company, I hire young employees. I hire a lot of coaches, and I give them a chance to move where they want to move for cost of living, for family, for whatever. And I optimize for the kind of personality where it doesn't matter if they work remote or work in person, they're going to work and they're going to do well. And like, if you want to solve your remote versus in person problem, hire the right people, and it doesn't matter. You can choose your own adventure from there. So like, that's my take.